Today, we're going to talk today about super quick service. We're going to talk about 14 pieces. It's really a service that I think works beautifully for brunettes who identify as brunette. They still want a bit of pop, they still want a bit of light to their hair, but they don't want to be a super bright blonde. It's a 20 to 30 minute service in the salon, which is so easy to do, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. But first off, let's have a look at, as we move aside a bit, here's the finished result. So here she is. So you can see that she's still brunette. Lovely blend in there. Got those lovely pieces of pop. I've not brushed this out yet. I'm going to brush this out later. But you can see there, all done with Davines products. I'm going to take you through this. Liberty Lightener, which is one of my favorites, and I'm going to talk about that. And with View, which is the demi-permanent. And there's some great little snippets of information about that I'm going to share with you. So here she is, and let's get into it. Move her out the way. All right. So start off, of course, sectioning pattern. 14 pieces is great for our brunette clients. I'm going to snuggle down there a little bit. The sectioning is really, really simple. So from wherever the part is, so we've gone from a center, makes it nice and easy to understand. We've done to the bottom of the occipital bone, maybe just above it, to the back of the ear, so it's 3 panels. And what's good about this is that this whole panel here doesn't get colored. This panel, so it's usually done on virtually one length hair, drops over and hangs around the back section, like so. So that whole underneath doesn't need to be done. That's what makes it so quick. And it's really also about less is more. So 14 pieces, 12 pieces, all of that's perfect. If you start doing anything underneath, it doesn't become a quick service, it becomes a full head of balayage. It's a totally different service. But for color shy clients and your brunette clients, it's absolutely amazing, and it's so quick. And you know, in the salon, we always need to be able to do quick add-on services, increase our bill, really important. This is a great one for it. So, and I must stop saying so, by the way, gosh. We're going to start off, I'm going to use Liberty Lightener. Now, you all know that I love a clay, right? Everyone knows I love a clay. I love clay lighteners because they're designed to make the application so much easier. So all the things that can go wrong with an application, clay lighteners make it easier to apply. Clay lighteners have their limitations. They usually lift up to 7 levels of lift, and up to is the most important piece in that conversation. Liberty Lightener is a clay-like consistency, so it's slightly different, and you get that extra 1 level of pop. So it gives you up to 8 levels if you use 40 volume. If you use 30 volume, it's around about that 4 level lift again, which, so for me, that's really not going to do a lot if you start taking into account density of hair, texture of hair, pre-colored levels, natural base levels. I like to go with a 40 volume because I definitely want that little bit more lift. And the doll head that we did earlier was done with 40 volume, and there she is just popping in to say hi. Now, what does it look like? This is what it looks like. Already pre-mixed. That's what I like about it. Like a cream cheese, like an icing on a cake, the consistency that you want to be able to paint with. But if it's too runny, it's going to run through and cause you loads of bleeding, so that's going to be a problem. And if it's too thick, you're not going to be able to paint with it. So consistency of the product, 1 to 1.5 is perfect for me. I'm going to pop my gloves on, because of course you don't want to burn your fingers, right? And I've ripped a glove. Well, start again. And then my little scales, I love these. Now, if Margaret's watching, Margaret, you know what I did, of course. I left the cover over that and said that they didn't work, and it took me about 2 hours to figure it out. There's a little cover that goes over that. Take it off, and it works perfectly well. Leave it on, and you're going to struggle. All right. So as I said, sectioning is nice and simple. 3 panels, can't go wrong with that. No complicated patterns for me in education or in the salon, because commercially it doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm going to start off, I'm going to take my bit, I'm going to do the first section. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to raise myself up for you. Look at this, trolley, all reclaimed wood, absolutely delightful. Okay, first section, I'm going to take in and diagonal down, that nice and clean, using the back of my tint brush. You can see there. Now, remember, it's 14 pieces. It's about a brunette who wants a few pieces of pop in there. So we're not trying to people please here and put loads and loads in. The idea is that she still looks like a brunette with some little bit of lightener in it. So this is going to be our first section, including the whole section, so you can see how deep that is there, right? We don't need to do face frames on this. If it's face framing, it's another service. Don't get your services wrong. This is the whole section we're going to do, and it's the first piece. I've got my product behind me, got my board. I'm going to take a little bit of product, put it on my board, like so. There, boom. Good enough to eat. Now, a little bit on here. I'm going to take this whole section, I'm going to bring that in for you so we can see. No. Let's get this in. I'm going to load in the middle. Load that product on. We're only painting on the surface. Nothing is going underneath. You know the tricks of the game, guys. We've talked about this for a long time. Angle's a bit difficult for me, but it's good for the camera. Now, what I love about the Davines story is the sustainability, the regenerative sustainability story. I think is a beautiful one, and I think it's one that's really important that we should be having. Not many corporations are B Corp, especially in hair color, but Davines are. So it's not just about recycling. It's about making sure that your carbon footprint is always good, that for everything that you take out of the planet, you put back somewhere. I think it's a beautiful modern story, and beauty is something that should be caring and good, right? So I just love that. And I managed to get the regenerative. I said that word wrong 6 times this morning. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And this is what's important, right? The product allows you to blend. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm just feathering that. Always loading in the middle. Feather, feather, feather. Loading in the middle. And look at the angle that I'm using the brush at. I'm going to just bring that down. And there. And then I'm just going to saturate the ends for that little bit of pop. Make sure that everything feels right. And drop that down. I'm going to bring that in for you. And there's the blend, guys. You like that? I love that. That's an Instagram post in itself, hey? And he's back. For those of you who are just joining us, we're in New York City. We're at Broome Street Society, which is the most gorgeous space in New York City. Absolutely delightful. With Davines North America and Davines Education, we're talking Liberty Lightener, and we're talking View Demi-Permanence. And we're talking quick services in the salon, add-on services, especially for brunettes who still want to be brunette. So it's 14 pieces. Yes, I'm going to show you, I can catch this question. I shall show you the next section underneath it. How about that? Good. And what else is going on there? Oh. Which technique is this for? This is a slightly heavy paint, and it's called 14 pieces. It's a really nice one. All right, so let's go again. Full product, back to your bowl. Remember, the brush that you're painting with never goes in the bowl. It always stays out of the bowl because that causes too much mess. And we're going to do our next section. We've got one underneath, so keep counting with me. We're going to take the second one and literally, like so. Let me just take that whole piece, actually. There it is. So this is number 2. Let's bring this in so you can see. We tilt it for you so you can see. There. All right. Now load in the middle. This is your shape that you've got. You've got nothing underneath. You've got the top there. Load in the middle. Feather up. Nothing going on at the bottom of the hair yet, because what I want to do is I want to secure my whole kind of shape and feel before I do that. Liberty Lightener is a clay-like consistency, so it's lovely to paint with, but it has the added bonus of giving you up to 8 levels of lift. Up to is always going to be the key word, and that's what it looks like underneath. Nothing happening underneath, guys. Let's pull that back so you can see. Bring that down, and then no marks either on the section. Every single mark that you can see when the product is on there will process, and you'll see that when it's light. Here's another piece. Whoa, love it. Okay, so we've got 2 pieces in there already. You having a good time? I'm definitely having a good time. I see a whoa there as well, right? So pretty. Here's the front piece, the first one, and this piece is actually going to be right up near the base plate. Well, let's just go in. We've got loads of time today, so that's lovely. So it's right there. So this is where we want the connection to be. I'm going to want this piece to match this piece, so that it's on the center part, so it's really nice and strong. I am saving the video, don't you worry. I'm going to save that and post that on here so you can reference back to it, don't worry. What's the point of doing it live unless you save it, hey? Okay, here we go. Again, making sure that you've got that deep panel. I keep forgetting I've got a studio audience, so I'm just going to have a look and see what they're doing. They're all on the phones watching. Brilliant. Okay, here we go. And so we want to hit here. I'm going to do this. Again, load in the middle. And you can see how the product just glides on the hair. The mixture is 1 to 1.5. It's got to be measured. Don't play around with that, because if you get that wrong, it just makes your life so difficult. So getting everything sorted before you start the service is so important. You know, get your section pattern in, make sure everything's nice and tidy, have all your equipment out. You know, all the things that make your day just smoother. There's nothing worse than a day falling apart on you. It happens. There we go, look. Boom. Look how close that's going. We're going to do a little bit more on the top there. Just going to go in here. Oh yeah. Love it. You know I can disappear into my own world when I'm painting. I'm just going to feather that up a little bit more through there. I've got loads to show you. I've done another doll head as well, and we've half glazed and half haven't. I want to show you the importance of glazing as we go along. 3 pieces. Oh my goodness. Nothing underneath. Yeah? I love it. Lots of hearts going on. That's great. Remember, if you've got some questions, there is a question box at the bottom. Pop those in for a Q&A afterwards. I'm glad I had my coffee this morning, though. There. 3 pieces. All right, got more questions going on. What can I see? Let me see. I make it look effortless. Well, I've been doing this for 20 odd years, right? I've been painting hair for 20 odd years. So if I make it look difficult, how can I educate it, right? So I think to begin with, it can get really complicated. And what I like to do with my education is make it simple, make it easily to manage and bite-sized information. The only way you get better is to practice. Grab a doll head, get your Liberty Lightener, practice, 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 practice. It's the only way. Somebody's just asking me, what product am I using? I'm using Liberty Lightener, and it looks like this. Okay, it's a clay-like consistency, up to 8 levels of lift, depending on, of course, all the underlying mitigating factors, natural level, base color, undercoats, underlying pigments, depending on what part of the world you're in, pre-colored, not pre-colored, all those things. 3, next section, 4, straight across. Let's do this one. Now you can take it as low as you want, or as high as you want. The higher you go, the more highlighted pieces you're going to have through the top. But for a brunette, if you go too high, right, what's going to happen is it might feel a little bit too highlighted for her towards the root colour. Somebody just said a Desange technique. Well, balayage was really invented by the Carida sisters in 1974. Jacques Desange, of course, made it famous in the 80s and spread it worldwide. Absolutely, we must always acknowledge where things come from. Well done for knowing your balayage history. I love a bit of history. Here's our next section. So this is number 4. Again, nice clean panel. Let's see if I can bring that down, possibly. All right, again, back to your board. Product's effortless to work with, which we love. Load in the middle. Keep that tension tight. It's easy to let that go, and that causes you more problems. And again, it's on the surface. We're not overly saturating. We're not looking for a level 22 lift here. Okay, this is a brunette client who identifies as brunette. That's it. If you see something you don't like, simply take the back of your tint brush and just soften that line up. There we go. See the difference there? Still nothing underneath. That's what I love about it. The board hasn't gone anywhere yet. The board is just being used to hold my product. And then we're going to saturate those ends. Now, by saturating those ends, that gives you more pop. 4 pieces. Oh my goodness. Looks good just like that, right? If only we could send people out just like that, that would be amazing. But we have to finish it. So I'm going to do 4, and then the top section lays over. And again, remember this one. This piece here is going to fall on the back section there, right? So you don't have to do a lot to have impact on that. I've got another question. I can see the question mark. What does it say? What's the best way to hold your brush when painting? I'll show you. That's a good one. So we've got 4 pieces going back. Oh, that's that. That's a hair we don't want. Now, when we do a foil, we paint like that. And we're taught to really push the products in to saturate the section. Yeah, painting on the surface of the hair, I like to paint like this. So it's more of that movement. I like it to be a softer, more organic flow. I'm going to split this into 2. Just comb that with your fingers. This section is going that way. I think I'm just going to move this light a little bit. How's that? Is that better? Here we go again. So this is the 5th section. So if you've said to a client you're going to do 14 pieces and you only do 12, don't worry. But if you say to your client you're going to do 14 pieces and you do 25, hey, that's a half head, not a 14-piece section. So really be sort of in the moment and thinking about what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I know that when I foil, sometimes I've done my shopping list, I've sorted out the argument I had at home, I've wondered whether I left the iron on. When I'm painting hair, I'm very much focused on the paint because each one is so different that I can't be not present. Otherwise, I know that I'm going to make a mistake. So this is number 6. You can see how nice that looks, and look at that. Nothing underneath. It's really, 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 really important. Let's go through. And we've nearly done one side. This is how quick it is. 20 minutes in the salon, guys, right? So instead of popping out for your lunch, you quickly go to a brunette client. Let me just give you 14 pieces. Causing a stir in the salon, getting people excited, and also showcasing the fact that balayage isn't just for blondes. Here goes piece number 6. This is going to be, oh, well, let's hope she doesn't fall off. I think she might. Ooh. Right, I'm going to be really gentle. But that's a great angle. Obviously, you wouldn't put your client in this position, right? You'd move the chair around and you'd move around, but I've got a camera in front of me, so I've got to Oh, she's going to go. There you go. Hold on. There, it's better. Number 6. Is Margaret on? Margaret, are you watching? Is she waving to me? Margaret, I wish you were here in New York. We could have all gone out. There we go. Last piece. See, that looks a little bit heavy in there. Just pop that down with the back of your brush. Just softens it all up. So for those of you just tuning in, remember this is all about a brunette who identifies as brunette and wants a few pieces. It's a quick salon service. We're using Liberty Lightener. It's a clay-like consistency, and it's going to give you up to 8 levels of lift. That extra 1 level of lift, right, is sometimes make or break it with a client. There you go. That's 6 pieces. Now we're going to repeat it on the other side. Now, do we need balance or do we need symmetry? The only place we want symmetry is right here, so we've got that pop. And if we go back to our reference point, there she is with her symmetry. Let's turn her upside down. There you can see that. Let me bring her out. So she's got her pop there, and then that lovely piece popping down at the side. See, so simple. Obviously with a curl, it's going to look different. You're going to get more pop, more bang with a curl when it's straight, and we've got a straight head one for you to show you in a minute. It's going to look slightly different. It's always important to make sure that we tell that to a client. Okay, last section, the side. There you go. And again, think about what's it going to look like at the end. Think about what you did on the other side. Balance, 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 not symmetry. Symmetry only at that very front section. That's nice. That feels good. Yeah. You've got to feel good about what you're doing, hey? Everyone enjoying themselves? Yeah, have I got a nod from the team? Team's happy? Yeah? How about the audience? Are you happy? You can say yes. Yeah! There, you see, you've got some life in the room. Okay. I know it's really strange doing a live in front of an audience. Very odd. But I like it. It's good to be back, right? Good to be back doing hair and looking after people and going to events. So cool. Okay, so piece number 7. Is that nice for you? Yeah. Should we try and get in a bit closer? Right, let's see what this looks like on camera. Oh, baby. See that? So we can get in a bit more. Ooh, that's a real close-up, right? So it's at an angle, diagonal down. Nice. And pull it out. Nothing's going underneath. Just, I think for any of you who are painting, if you've not painted with a clay light lightener, you're missing out. Right, because it just, look how effortless that is, right? I know everyone says, oh, you've been doing it a long time, you can do that, but it really just makes the job easier. But, you know, for some of our clients, they want more than, you know, up to 7 levels. And do you really get up to 7 levels? I don't know. So it's really nice to have another product like Davines' Liberty Lightener that's going to give us 8 levels with the same feel, right? So it's that extra kick. Oh, God, yeah, look at that. Boom. Nice. So it's just that extra little pop, and that 1 level can make all the difference between a okay and a yay. So I like that. All right, so that's 7. Whew. Diagonal down still. Oh. There we go. That nice and clear for everybody? Yes, it is. That's good. 7, 8, 9. So 2 more sections. Pop back to my bowl, pick up some fresh lightener. Get rid of that strange bit, doll hair. Let's come in here. Lots of hearts going on. I'm pleased to see that you're all enjoying yourself this morning. That's always good. And by the way, if you didn't know, I'm in New York City and I'm having a great time. So, here we go. It's one of my favorite cities in the whole world. So again, see that tension? It's really tight. It's nice and clean sectioning through there. Gotta just keep going with that. Gotta keep reminding yourself, less is more. Load in the middle. Feather to the root. Saturate the ends. Let's turn that so you can see that there. That's better. Look at that. Right. Nothing underneath. It's really important. Bring that down, and then we just saturate the ends. So you notice that the board isn't going everywhere. Oh, that's a nice one. The board isn't going everywhere. The board is literally just using to hold the product and to saturate the very ends. Now, we come up to this piece, which is going to be, we want this highest peak here to match this peak here. So it looks like it's growing out of the head. Just on here. Now, if she's super dark, she might not want it all the way up to the top, so you can adjust that. It's really easy to adjust it. It's not a problem. Just really make sure in your consult that you've talked about how high the client wants to see the light pieces, where she wants the definition. I am really good, thank you. I'm really good. No cotton under here so far. I don't need it. If you felt a bit uncomfortable, I have got some cotton in my bowl behind me. You can pop a piece of cotton underneath there. If you feel like you need to use the plastic wrap for more incubation, go ahead and do that. There are no hard and fast rules on that one. A clay light lightener the surface is gonna dry for you. I feel quite comfortable without my plastic wrap. But there was a point in my life when I didn't. So I'm not saying to do or not to do. It's a great question. All right, here we go. I'm gonna turn that around so you can see there. I think that's nice. Cool. Look at my brush. Sit on a slight side angle. Elevate out slightly. Let's push this piece up. Yes. Push, push, push. Gently though. That's it. You can see there. We've got that match. Right? That gives us the symmetry that we're looking for. We're only looking for symmetry at the front. Bring that back round. Did you want a picture? There you go. So you've got the team taking pictures today. So make sure my angle's right. Okay. And then feather. That's it. For those of you who are just joining, I'm going to repeat it again. Just want to make sure you know, today we're using Liberty Lightener with Davines. We're in Davines, North America, in New York City. Liberty Lightener is a clay-like consistency with the added bonus that you get up to 8 levels of lift. Up to is always the word when we're talking about products, right? We're not going to guarantee that it's going to get 8 levels. If you're not sure, do a strand test, make your life easy. There. I love that. Glad you're liking it. Let's finish this off, right? So we have done 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces so far, and it hasn't taken long. We're going to go straight across. Nice doll head, actually. It's got a nice face. Okay, this is the 10th piece. It's got some questions on there. Which colour brand do you normally work with? So I'm very fortunate. I'm working with a number of colour brands, and today we're working with Davines North America. I like to work with brands I like, but I'm not here to preach to the converted. Here we go. Look at that. This is going to be our next section. I'm going to be talking about glazing in a minute. Super important conversation. I know that it's a slightly confusing conversation for some of us, but really glazing is the icing on a cake. All we're doing with a pre-lightener is we are lifting the hair, we are revealing, now it depends on the part of the world you live in, we're revealing either undercoat or underlying pigment. I don't know which way it works. What is it here in the USA? Underlying pigment in the USA, undercoat in Europe. It's the same thing, guys. Everything comes up warm, we reveal the warmth. What we want to do is neutralize, subdue, or enhance it, and that's why we need to use a glaze, because I don't believe we should be sending anybody out of the salon with raw pre-lightened hair. It's not the way forward. Hasn't closed the cuticle, it's not shiny, it's not glossy, it doesn't look expensive. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, here we go. So this piece is 6, 7, 8, 9. This is piece number 10. Woo! And again, still load in the middle, and you can see I've taken that whole section, right? So there's nothing underneath that. Just get a nice feel for where you're painting. There, and then just feather that through. Now that looks just a little bit too thick for me. I'm going to show you if I come in. Can you see that? It looks a little bit, I mean, you could get away with it, but I think that if you fix those things before you finished your paint, there, you can see how soft that is? So fix it before, and then you don't have to fix it at the backwash. You know that moment when your top lip starts sweating and you're like, oh my God, what's gone wrong? And then you go and ask all your co-workers, come and take a look at this, and they're all walking past the basin, all thinking the client doesn't know. You know, if you see something you don't like, fix it. It's not going to go away. There. And look, no transition lines. I see this a lot on Instagram. Those marks that you see there, that is going to cause you problems when you dry it. This is going to be a line. This is going to be a line. It's not going to lift as light as it does there. Make sure that you've got that transition looking beautiful, that you're not seeing any hair underneath it. It's really important, and it's easy to go over when you're painting with the brush sideways through here. Just glides over the hair. They're simple mistakes to make. And don't worry, we've all made them, right? I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but I've made loads of mistakes along the way. And what I try to do for you guys is to bring you honest, real conversations about how you can fix them, how you can work smarter, how you can work faster, and the great products like Davines that I like to work with. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. 11, 12. Last 2. She's looking hot, I think. You know me, I love a process, right? I'd rather stick a process picture than I would a finished picture. It's just crazy, but that's what I like. Here we go. I'm going to do my last 2 sections. Let me just mix up my lightner still. Put a bit more on. I love the fact I've got all this room, right? And normally I'm doing these lives from my spare bedroom, which I've turned into a studio, and it's so light, I'm like this. But I've got all this room, I could actually start a dance party. Maybe I will. Get that music on. Okay, here we go. There you go. So you can see, how does that look? Let's try and do this a little bit lower for you without her falling off. That was nice. Okay, so we've got the money piece at the front. We've made that connection. If this has gone high on this side, let's do this a little bit high as well. Nice. Keep that tension tight. And again, I'm just going to get a clean brush. There, it's better. Nothing wrong with having a couple of brushes out, get a clean one, keep it tidy. That's better. Lots of questions going on in there. Make sure that you've just used that question box, which is at the bottom there. Okay. And still nothing underneath, right? I just want to reiterate that to you all. Here we go. And then just saturate through. Oh yes. Okay, it's food or painting hair for me, I'm afraid, guys. So look at that. Looking nice. And the final piece. Now, that's like 30 minutes. 30 minutes and I've been talking and taking you through it, right? So you can imagine how quick this is in the salon. Super quick, super commercial, super pretty. Talking to our brunette clients who we often ignore. I don't know why we often ignore them. No wonder they all go to Dwayne Reed and Boots the Chemist and get box colour, because we're so focused on our blonde clients that we forget there's a whole world of people that don't want to be blonde. Right? So what we want to do is we want to engage them, offer them services that are maybe a little bit more low commitment. We want to talk about subduing and neutralising some of those warm tones that their brunettes don't like. Wow. Okay. There she is. Let me just bring her around. I nearly fell over then. Can you imagine if I've fallen flat on the middle of Broome Street Society? Here we go. 14 pieces. This is actually only 12. So actually I've done less work but charged the same price, which is always a good win-win for me. That's what it looks like. You can see that the underneath, there's nothing there. All these pieces are going to drop over it. All the blend, there's no marks in there either. You don't want marks on your paint. The clay lightener, the clay-like lightener, the Liberty Lightener with 40 volume is going to give us up to 8 levels of lift. It's really beautiful to work with. Just blends through really, really nicely. So far, that's part 1 of today's live in New York City. I'm loving it. Okay, let's pop her over here. And he's back. Let me take the gloves off. Right, so up to 8 levels of lift with your Liberty Lightener with 40 volume. Everyone's terrified of 40 volume. I don't know why. When I was training, it was 60 volume, and when I was in Paris, there was a cap 100 thrown in there. But it's 40 volume is the max. We're taught that we'd go low, go slow, which is perfect with our other lighteners. But with our clay-like lighteners, we want to be using 40 volume. The top of the product seals over, no oxygen can get into it, so you've got no lift going on that way. The lift is happening with the developer. 40 up to 8 levels of lift, that's the trick with this one, which is amazing, right? But if you use 30 volume, you're only going to get up to 4 levels of lift, and so you're not going to see a lot. And if you are one of those hairdressers that doesn't believe the manufacturer and uses 20 volume, you're going to do all that work and see nothing, right? So only with the clay likes though. All right, what does she look like? She looks like this. Let's brush her out. So thank you so much for blow drying me today. Where are you? There you are. Thank you. So look, this is what she looks like pre-done. I did a darker doll head to show that off because I think that it's important. I'm just going to brush this through. Now, if you're doing an Instagram pic, if you have more defined curl, it's going to pop more on camera. But sometimes, you know, it can look like a dancer and your clients don't want that. But here you can see as I start brushing, you can see that lightness all coming together. Just like that. That's it, just pull that out. And you can see those light pieces. And there, you get that. So it's really, really, I think it's beautiful, right? So you can see the pops of colour. You can see that you've got some of the brighter pieces in there coming through. Let me just, where's that light? There, that's better. How's that looking on camera, my team? Yeah? Hard for me to see. But you can see how you lose the different, you lose that pop, but you get more of a feel that a client would want to go out with something softer. So if you want to take that pic beforehand, don't dress it out too much, get that done, and then that's what 14 pieces looks like. So it's really, really easy. She's still a brunette, right? She's just got some lighter pieces in there, which is important. What does it look like smooth, Jack, though? Are you hiding behind the curl? Well, I can answer that for you. No, we're not. Here's another one I did, right? A lot of prep goes into these lives. So here she is. And that's the transition. There. Yeah, so that's what it looks like blow dried straight. So you should The reason this is clipped behind because I've got another story I want to tell you in a minute. So many stories, so much to tell you here at the Broome Street Society with Davines North America, Davines Education. So much going on. So we've talked about our pre-lightener, we've talked about Liberty Lightener and what it can do up to 8 levels of lift. Don't forget that, it's really important, and it's the up to piece. What about glazing? So this doll head, we glazed. View. Let's talk about View. It's liquid. Everyone knows I love a liquid gloss. It's liquid, but this is a really nice piece of the conversation. 98% of this product is biodegradable in water after 28 days. That is so of the moment, and I think that we are caring, compassionate people, and we love the planet, and anything that can help you in there is really amazing. I used 827. It's iridescent beige on there. I used it with 10 volume developer, and the great thing is that there's not a separate developer. They're all the same, right? So that makes sense to me. Makes sense to you? Makes sense to me. And what we did was somebody did it for me. We glazed the whole thing except the front piece for 15 minutes, and then we ran it through the front piece for the last 10 minutes. So it's a level of an 8, so it's not going to be blonde, right? The undercoat is warm through there anyway. The iridescent will just kill that a little bit for you, and a little bit of beige on there. Super, super pretty. Understand your leveling system, your primary and your tertiary, secondary tones. Really, again, a super important thing. Product companies have got loads of support for you. I know Davines North America does. Loads of support to help you if you don't understand that. We all start off not knowing anything. So ask the questions that you need to make yourself successful on the salon floor, right? Okay, so that's what we did with there. Now, as I said before, undercoats are raw. I don't like it. This is what it looks like without. I've got a clip mark in there, which is so annoying now. But anyway, that's what it looks like without any sort of product on it. So it's okay, right? It's okay. But look at that side. Look at the difference in there. We've got more shine. It's just neutralized a little bit more. And we did something different on this one because I wanted to show as much as you can show in an hour. We used quartz and clear gloss. So we used half quartz, half clear gloss with the 10 volume developer. Again, that went on this side of the head for 15 minutes through everything and just 5 minutes through the front, just to get a little bit of differentiation in there. So you can really play around with your glazes. You don't have to make it overly complicated, but do you want to just put one color all over and just leave it for 20 minutes? I kind of think that that's the easy option. What I think is if we're tailoring and we're trying to bring clients back into the salon, we're trying to be a point of difference from the salon down the street, is that we want to make the experience as different as possible and as relevant as possible to who's in front of you. So by leaving a glaze on for different levels of time in different areas, you're going to get slightly different results, varying tones. It's unique as your fingerprint, right? And nobody else can do that except you. So I love that. And I love the story of View in the sense of, look at that, how pretty and shiny that is. Even a doll head's shining, right? I love the way that it's 98% biodegradable in 28 days in water. I mean, that's really, really important. And that the product company itself is a B Corp corporation. So sustainability, but it's a sustainability about putting back in. It's a long conversation, it's an ongoing conversation. And it's not just about the recycled piece of it, it's about using products that are recyclable and that are natural and replanting, all those things that you don't always think about, but we're thinking more and more about them as we go along. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I think it's a bit time for a few Q&As. I know that there's been loads of comments on here, and first of all, I've got 21 questions on here, I think. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm going to answer the main ones first, and I'm going to come back to these because there's a lot there too. So, first question up is that we were asked the other day, is there a difference between maintaining bleach blonde hair versus natural blonde hair? Well, obviously, any hair that's had a chemical service is going to have slightly different requirements to natural hair. But, I love the name of this product, right? It's the best name in the world. Let me move Dolly out of the way. You go here, Dolly. I'll keep the good side going. All right. I always think of Blondie, it's Heart of Glass. I just think that's a great name for a product. It looks nice too, right? Which is really important from that bathroom shelf. Heart of Glass has got a natural plant extract in it, and I've got to read it because we were all practicing it this morning and I've forgotten it. I can't say it properly, but it's Jaguar, right? Now, that is a natural plant extract. So it's got a lovely tint to it, which is great for your blondes. It's also got bonding forcing technology in it, so it's going to help maintain them and strengthen them and make them super, super shiny. So this is a great one for those clients that start feeling a bit yellowy once they leave the salon. It's also great just for maintaining and strengthening their hair. It's good for natural blondes and for pre-lightened blondes too. So we like to say pre-lightened on a professional level, but a client's always going to say bleach to you. So that's a cool question. Do you recommend balayage for curly hair? Right, my favorite subject at the moment. Balayage is a highlighting technique in its truest form from root to tip. Why wouldn't a curly haired person be able to have that? Okay, we're inclusive in our conversation about hair color. So hair color can be for absolutely everyone. What you want to be thinking about is, what is the curl pattern like? Is it smooth? Is it wavy? Is it curly? Is it coily? What is it? How is it going to be worn in its natural state? Is the client going to be blow drying it straight? Is she going to be blow drying it and tonging it? Or is she going to leave it naturally curly? Work with the curl pattern. God has already put that there. It's so much fun to paint curly and coily hair. So yes, it is. It's brilliant. How often should I colour my hair? Well, if you're a client of mine for grey coverage, I'm looking at 3 to 4 weeks for my grey coverage clients. For my brunette balayages, I am saying round about, generally speaking, the 16 to 20 week mark. But if you paint it so that it's so lived in, right, that it looks like it's regrown already, you're not really encouraging clients to come back. So paint it closer to the roots, get people to come back. If you're a client watching this, you know, it's a business and it's important that your hair looks great all the time, not just for 2 weeks after leaving. For my blondes, it's between 6 and 8 weeks, sometimes 12. I had a foil client in last Friday who had her foil done 4 weeks ago, and I'm like, hold on a minute, let's talk about this. And what she really needed was she needed contrast. And so it's about making sure that that client feels safe, secure, and trusts you, yeah? So that's good. What hair colors do you recommend for people with fair skin? I just don't think that holds anymore, that kind of, there is this thing, you know, cool tones, warm tones, and skin tone. But I think really, if you want to be it, and the hairdresser, you and the hairdresser have that connection, you could be anything you want to be, right? There are no rules on that one anymore, I don't think. So that's a good one. What's something you wish more clients knew coming into a hair color appointment? I think I do a super thorough consultation. You followed me, you know that I like to sit down, I make the client's really, really comfortable. I want images. I don't care if it's black and white. I don't care if it's a color that she doesn't want, but she likes something about it. I want to know the client's story. I want to know what the client's dream hair is. I want to know what's happened to her. I want to make sure that she and I connect, right? Because it's not just technical, it's an emotional thing too. I want to make sure that I've told her everything that is possible to do in the forthcoming appointments to make sure that she's super happy. And really importantly, I want her to know how much it's going to cost her. Because I don't walk into Gucci and just go, how much? No way, I'm not paying that. It's already there for me, it's all really, really clear, and I want to make sure that everything is really clear for my clients. Good question. How do you recommend going blonde in a healthy way from a very dark brown? Well, what is blonde? Okay, so blonde can be from a level 7 all the way up to a level 22. Level 22 doesn't exist, guys, but people come in with those images. It depends on what the client really, really wants. How do you do it safely? Obviously, you use great products, so we're using Davines. You want to use bonding technology in there. We're using Davines. You want to make sure that the home hair care is great. We're using Heart of Glass. There are lots of things to help you on that journey. We want to reduce the heat, all of that stuff, but it's a conversation you should have with your colorist and your hairdresser too. My favorite Davines products, oh come on, who's going to ask me that question? Hello, Liberty Lightner, Heart of Glass, and of course View. They're my favorite Davines products. It's a good one. And what are your recommendations for removing brassy toes? Hello, Heart of Glass, right? Yeah, good one. Really good. One more. How do I keep my bleached hair healthy and nourished? You know, you've got to make sure that if you've got pre-lightened hair, that you've got to really stay on it. You've got to turn down that heat. You've got to watch the styling on there. You've got to use the products that are recommended by your stylist, in-salon treatments, great products all the time. There's a whole story there. Controlling thick and frizzy hair, and I'm going to go across to more of my products. We've got our Love shampoos and conditioners, so they're going to be really good for you as well. And then if you were looking at nourishing the curl, we've got Love for the curl as well. We've got loads and loads of product for you to use. Pop into your local Davines salon and talk to your stylist. Right, I've got a few more questions. Oh my goodness, there are so many. Do I have a favourite restaurant in New York? Oh my goodness, I don't know that one's relative today, but it's a good one. What colour references can you use on the model in order to make natural brunette look? So I think if somebody wants to be identified as a brunette, it's about not putting lots of colour in there. Yeah, so I think something like this is really nice for a brunette client. It's a little bit of pop. I also think that when you're working around the face on grey coverage brunette clients, that you want to think about maybe going half a shade lighter around that face, especially for our clients that have gone into that higher percentage of white hair, because with all the retinols and the glycolic acids and all the skincare ranges, this hair around here can become super porous and it can get really dark. And so suddenly a level 5 looks like a level 4 or a 3. It can look a little bit, to me, it can look a little bit harsh. And so you want to soften that up. Just going up half a shade around the face is a great one. This is good. Our favorite powder is Liberty. Oh my goodness, there are so many on here. How do you feel about Liberty on previously colored hair? So this is a great question. Now, previously colored hair, when you're pre-lightening, is going to be different to naturally colored hair. Obviously, you've got the chemical in there as well. The lift is going to be inhibited, so you are going to probably struggle that little bit more. Now, if you were doing a balayage on previously colored who wanted to be light, maybe the first time service to get that lift after you've done maybe a color remover or a bleach bath on it, is going to be that you're not going to go with the clay, you're going to go with traditional powder and a foiling technique to give you a balayage feel. And then as you get that lightness in there, you can switch over to clay or a clay-like consistency. Remember, just because a client comes in and says, I want this look, it doesn't mean to say that you have to just paint. You can foil, you can tease, you can baby light. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you manage the client's expectations, but you're not doing something just to do something, that you're really harnessing the power of the different lightners that you have in the salon and the different techniques to make sure that you deliver the result that the client's looking for. Ever in doubt, always do a test piece, guys. It takes a little bit more time, but do it. See what happens. See how light it lifts. Do 2 test pieces, one with clay, one without. Just make sure that you know what's going on, right? And then have that honest conversation with the client, and don't feel nervous about saying it's not going to happen this time. You know what you're capable of doing. You know what the products are capable of doing. If the client's not happy with your diagnosis, let them go somewhere else. Don't have the heartache of it. It's a really good question. We've got some more. I'm going up, I've got loads. I can't even read them, I'm so old. Okay, if you don't achieve the level of lift when painting, what can you do? I think I answered that one, really. Again, it's up to 8 levels of lift with Liberty Lightener. How much lift does the client want? What does she want? If she's a level 3, she wants to be a level 22. Clay is not going to be for you, right? It's not going to be for that client. We're going to go straight into a pre-lightened foil technique. So again, just make sure that you're picking the right product and the right technique for the right woman that's sat in your chair. Great questions though. And also, the other one on that one is that you could always maybe go over at the backwash on those ends to get those ends a little bit more, a little bit of backwash balayage. Not a problem to do that at all. It's not an issue. It's nothing's gone wrong. Or you can talk about the client journey. This time we'll get this far, this time we'll get that far, but you also make sure that you explain that to the client and you explain all the pricing on it. So listen, I've got so many people to thank. First of all, thank you as always for joining me. Today it's all been about brunettes, 14 pieces, but we only did 12, so we did less less color, more money, boom, it's a time saver. It's like a 20-minute application in the salon. Focal points are always going to be the front of the piece. There we go. So the focal point is always going to be here. Remember, we're not doing the underneath, we're letting those pieces sit on that top section. It's best on one length or slightly layered hair, not heavily layered hair. Liberty Lightener gives you up to 8 levels of lift guide. That's a bargain, right? That's that extra little piece in your pocket.